In the modern internet era, several individuals have made names for themselves seemingly overnight. In the early 2010s, PewDiePie took YouTube by storm, becoming the #1 subscribed channel on YouTube, and he would retain this title for 6 years. By the end of the decade, creators like MrBeast and Dream have more or less solved YouTube's algorithm. As the internet grows older and older, we have learned more and more about making it big on social media. However, what if the clout falls into the wrong hands? What happens when we give power and influence to a person who ultimately does not deserve it? The answer should become evident by the end of this video. If it was not obvious enough already, the person I'm referring to is Swan. Swan is an Australian commentary YouTuber who makes highly edited video essays. He was regarded as a core member of the commentary community during his hot streak in 2020. However, since then, he has fallen off and has been universally and rightfully condemned by almost every corner of the internet. There's a quote that goes, that is, unfortunately a racial slur, but even that is not nearly as deplorable as Swan. In today's video, we will be covering how John became the greatest threat to society and permanently damaged the commentary community to the fullest extent. This video is intended to be the last line of defense against someone who will continue to threaten the sovereignty of the commentary community if he is not stopped. This video also serves as a deep dive into the motivations that compelled John to do what he has done, and an accurate timeline explaining the truth behind several situations where John has tried to twist the narrative. I want everyone watching this video to know that what I am about to say is the objective truth and should be taken with 150% sincerity. Before we establish the current timeline of events, we first must dig into the mind of John in order to better understand his motivations and values. Totalitarianism is defined as a system of government that is centralized and dictatorial, and requires complete subservience to the state. It is characterized by the strong central rule that attempts to control and direct all aspects of individual life through coercion and repression. John portrays himself online similarly to a 20th century dictator, and I will explain how.
Jaco, you're a little fucking scumbag and I hope, Jaco, I hope all this shit catches up to you one day, because it is going to. I promise you it will. And Jaco, if you want to learn about blackballing is, I will make sure you know, okay? I will make sure you know. Remember you had that little disagreement about Aiden supposedly blackballing you? Jaco, I will show you what real blackballing looks like, because I will make sure no one ever works with you in any serious capacity ever again. I hope you know that. You're untrustworthy, you're a snake, and I hope you never get success in any legitimate way. Have a good day, guys.
I've studied psychology for 5 minutes to bring you this video, so I hope you can view me as an authoritative and knowledgeable figure on this subject. I will leave links in the description below to my sources to show my work. In psychology, there is a concept known as the dark triad that consists of 3 antisocial personality traits. These are narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Narcissism is defined as selfishness, involving a sense of entitlement, a lack of empathy, and a need for admiration. Machiavellianism is a personality trait that denotes cunningness, the ability to be manipulative, and a drive to use whatever means necessary to gain power. Finally, psychopathy is characterized by the absence of empathy and the blunting of other affective states. To directly quote the doctor I studied, all of these traits are strictly malevolent and can be thought of as the very definition of evil itself. This is because dark triads are ruthless manipulators who will claw their way to the top at anyone's expense. They are also interpersonally skilled, which means that while they themselves are cold, dark triads are good at understanding other people's emotions and thought processes. The next thing to know is that John, despite his confession, is technically not a dark triad. In fact, this confession is yet another lie of Swan, proving that even when he degrades himself, he still cannot bring himself to tell the truth. Instead, John is a diminished triad. A diminished triad consists of 2 minor thirds stacked on top of each other, making a very dissonant chord. Here is an example of a B-diminished triad. As you can hear, this chord is very dissonant and has a very tense, dark, and unstable timbre. The purpose of creating dissonance in a piece of music is to eventually resolve it to portray a sense of progression. For example, if we play a B-diminished triad, that chord creates tension in the listener's ear. This tension can be resolved by playing a major triad a half step above the diminished one, in this case, C major. At this point, you can probably see the endless parallels between a diminished triad and Swan. John is a master at trying to resolve problems and threats he created. He manages to put himself in ridiculous situations only to attempt to dig himself out of the hole he created with more lies. In every sense of the word, John is an undeniable diminished triad that must be stopped at all costs. Despite this, I could not find a written confession from John admitting that he is indeed the diminished triad. Instead, I would need to dig deeper in order to confirm that John is, in fact, evil. I quickly began to analyze the different behaviors he exhibits on his social media, and what I found may be shocking to you. In his bio, he claims that he deletes his tweets weekly. By deleting his tweets, he can get away with saying the most god-awful and ludicrous things imaginable and receive no backlash or accountability whatsoever. An example of this is when he tweeted out, "They should come out with type 3 diabetes," or "Sex will no longer be allowed." These are unbelievably bad takes, and John was able to avoid all accountability for these statements simply by deleting them. The constant paranoia that something he said yesterday would be used against him tomorrow is enough for him to wipe his entire Twitter clean. Unfortunately for him, the Wayback Machine provides us with basically every tweet John has ever posted, giving us an endless supply of bangers like, "No, don't do the dab. You're so sexy. Aha." Believe it or not, this is only the first component of being a diminished triad. As I stated before, a diminished triad consists of two minor thirds stacked on top of each other. The key there is minor. Swan has a habit of getting into trouble with several minors when creating dissonance within the commentary community. These minors include, but are not limited to, LT Cobra, Aiden Projects, and most importantly, Pieman. Pieman is the most important because this may honestly be his worst controversy to this day. For those that don't know, John accused Pieman, who was 15 at the time, of having pedophilic tendencies.
Pieman is a small YouTuber, he's 15 years old, and he's a pretty big fan of John. John decided to insinuate that Pieman is a pedophile because he sent a cringy, flirty message to a 12-year-old. Again, Pieman's only 15. John was making tweets such as, "Why did no one ask the age? You have a self-possessed IQ of 150 and you didn't think to ask the age of the girl you were flirting with in a sexual manner? Wow, that's crazy, John. It's as if the kid is only 15. Why would he ask the age? That's still messed up, LMAO. You're still not helping yourself. No. Leave the internet."
The extreme pressure John put on Pieman almost caused him to attempt suicide. At this point, ordinary people would sincerely apologize for even entertaining the idea that a child could be a pedophile, let alone nearly pushing someone to suicide. The diminished triad, however, is far different. Take a look at what John does.
But at the end of the document, he said, "I might just upload my next video and then fucking kill myself." And I'm just... It came out later... Okay, well, those weren't genuine. That wasn't a genuine thing. He, literally, turned around and said he's fine. So he tried to weaponize his suicide attempt to try and make us feel bad about him saying he was being attracted to a 12-year-old.
Eventually, John would be forced to give an insincere apology that he would record. He then planned to leak this audio to the public and use his friend group as a scapegoat.
I feel like if we want to do this, there's only one way. You create a new Twitter account with a number that none of you have registered. So we get someone else to make a Google Voice number or something, and then we leak it through that, so it has no ties to literally anyone. And then we leave it for ages, and then all of a sudden people start retweeting it out of nowhere. Because you could just say you found it through Twitter search or something. And that's probably the best way for you to do it. At least the way I thought about it. Because you can't do it through an account that has followers, I don't think. That's not going to work.
The levels and layers John prepared to defend himself from a threat he created preemptively are honestly scary, considering all he had to do to resolve the situation was apologize. This is classic narcissism. The inability to admit fault and take accountability was a sign of a much more significant issue. Thus, we can confidently conclude that John is a diminished triad, which we can define as a person who creates conflict, usually with minors, and then attempts to save themselves from the danger they created by lying and manipulating. Now that we have established that John is a diminished triad, it is now time to cover the complete John Swan timeline to examine the many political cons he has exacted against several different people. A common theme among them is that John waits for the opportune time to try and ruin someone's credibility and image. He slowly waits until his target is in hot water before he pounces. The intention is not to start the drama, but to add fuel to the flames, and you can get away with this because most people will want to dunk on the person in question and ignore some of the less than honest points. The first controversy that John received any significant backlash for was when he lied to Dream. Dream is an American Minecraft YouTuber known for his astronomical rise to prominence on YouTube. In 2019, John did an interview with Dream for his Minecraft documentary. However, things would change in January 2021 after Dream's meteoric rise. John would tweet out a clip of Moist Critical calling Dream an arrogant douchebag. The tweet began to make rounds on the Dream subreddit, causing Dream himself to comment. He accused John of changing his Discord profile to Dream and saying weird and random things about a Minecraft sex mod. Despite Dream's monstrous fanbase and influence, this post only got around 20 upvotes, and considering that the crime at hand was trolling, an average person would look at this and say, even if this is true, it's not a big deal or a threat or anything. However, John is not an average person. He is, in fact, the diminished triad. John blew the situation out of proportion by single-handedly blowing up the Reddit post, essentially making the allegation much greater than Dream ever intended, then denying that he ever trolled anyone. Instead, he claimed that his autistic 12-year-old cousin was hacking into his account doing the trolling. John would make a full Twitter response when he first learned of the post, then later make a Google document and a SoundCloud mixtape. The entire commentary community began to rally around John and defend him against the big bad Dream. Remember that Dream was dealing with the speedrun cheating allegations during this time, so it would not be a stretch to believe that he was also lying about John.
Dream lying about his Minecraft speedrun popped up several times. He's already lied once.
I think they're both in the same exact boat.
Oh, the guy did cheat in Minecraft. Who knows what he's capable of? John, however, no, completely out of character. John, he never does anything wrong.
John's such a nice dude. John's a fucking violin kid, all right. He's got nothing. There's nothing on John. You can't pound him, all right. And when I say that, I mean optically speaking. You know what?
John's the boy, man.
John's the boy, man. Dream cheated in Minecraft. It can't be John. There's no way John would sit by, lie to his friend's face, his fans, watch them hurt their credibility defending him. John wouldn't brag about how many followers he was gaining from a bold-faced lie towards another creator. He wouldn't make up a story about an autistic 12-year-old using his account. He wouldn't have his friend be in on the lie with him, bringing his credibility down to zero too. John wouldn't post a 13-page document acting like he's the bigger man. Saying innocent until proven guilty is a phrase that's lost a lot of significance lately.
This is what I was referring to when I said that John waits until his prey is in hot water before striking. However, this would eventually be released.
Yeah. There's no way that you and Cobra were just fucking around with Harley or whatever, and then you didn't expect Dream to respond, and you just you made up something on the spot or whatever, and then you just you weren't expecting it to ever come back up again, and it came back up again, and it was just a big shit show, and you just tried to bury it, and then it got bigger, and then you just fucking made a document. There's no way that's what happened. I already know the answer, so it's really there's no reason to lie to me.
If you know the answer, then you know the answer.
So you did it.
That's what I'm gonna say.
John, come on. I'm not.
No, I'm not. I don't know. Who knows? If you know the answer, you know the answer. That's all.
Are you the slightest bit worried?
No, not really.
Do you think I'm being irrational right now?
No, I don't think you are. I think you're justifiably concerned.
John.
I'm skeptical.
I'm really trying to tiptoe here. I have talked to everybody. I've talked to every single person involved in the entire thing now. All of the people, not Harley and Cobra. I know, I've gone to talk to most of the old NCO people. So I know everything. There's no reason to not just tell me.
If you know, then you know. That's what I'm gonna say.
Once this call was released, it was game over for John. He would post an apology statement and leave the internet for a few months. The problem here is not that John lied to Dream. The problem is that he made such an elaborate lie and weaponized the entire commentary community against Dream over something inconsequential, and then when he got caught, he showed absolutely no empathy.
He wouldn't be the guy claiming he's taking accountability on Twitter as if being brave, when in reality he only did it because Nick already exposed him. So fuck this I'm owning up shit. You're a snake, you're a liar, you're a manipulator, and you only feel bad now because you didn't get away with it.
The most disappointing thing about this situation is that there was no Minecraft sex mod after all. As a huge Minecraft fan, I was looking forward to using this mod, so it's a shame that it will never be released. This drama perfectly encapsulates the diminished triad personality. John himself was the reason he was under fire to begin with, then once he dug himself in a hole, he attempted to dig himself out by creating a lie, which ironically ended up being the nail in the coffin. Eventually, the commentary community would forgive John after the Dream controversy and give him one more chance to redeem himself. One of these people was Technicals. Tech wanted to believe that John could change from the Dream controversy and publicly defended John on several occasions.
What does this have to do with anything?
Times. The Dream stuff is not a big deal. You can come back.
You're bringing up me being a good friend. That doesn't make you look better.
You said that to me, right?
I said.
So it is weird how he brings.
Bro, I said to him, I said to this nigga in his fucking peepers, in this nigga's soul, I was like, the Dream stuff. I was like, you didn't fuck a kid, bro. If you do this right, you can rebuild your channel. Dead ass supporting this nigga. I was like, dude, just stop coping on fucking Twitter and like uploading all these dumbass videos, and you can come back. And then he stabs me in the back. And he's like, oh, what the fuck? Dude, he was supporting me. I fucked him over. And now he's not supporting me anymore. What the fuck? Why would he bring up that I'm dishonest? Fuck you, dude. You can actually suck my entire cock. Get this Matrix juice down your throat.
Is it up now?
Bitch ass, worthless ass nigga.
He would also hire John to edit the intros to his Skyhouse and Zero videos. The Skyhouse video was well received throughout the commentary community, but the Zero video left a very sour taste in many people's mouths since Zero was not completely innocent of everything he was accused of. They, at best, did not feel comfortable siding with a guy they felt was suspicious and, at worst, believed Zero was a deplorable human being that should not be put in any positive light whatsoever. As a result, the commentary community believed that Technicals was downplaying the severity of what Zero did. On December 8th, 2021, John would betray Technicals by dropping a video titled Zero Shame, the Technicals Cover-Up, where he critiques Technicals' video. The title alone should give you more than enough information as to why this video is awful. John is the last person who should be criticizing anyone for a cover-up, considering everything he did during the Dream controversy. Along with the misrepresentation and paper-thin arguments within his video, including a false allegation regarding a group chat Technicals owned, he fails to provide any reason to believe that Tech is dishonest. On December 24th, 2021, a YouTuber named I made a video titled John Swan, How to Be Dishonest, where I defended Technical's Zero video, while also calling out John for his dishonest and hypocritical response. John claims throughout his video that Technicals is trying to downplay Zero's actions to make him seem innocent. What Technicals is trying to do is understand the source of why Zero did the things he did. He doesn't think Zero flirted with Katie because he maliciously seeks out vulnerable children. He thinks it's because Zero was a confused 19-year-old that didn't know what was and wasn't appropriate to say in conversation to someone who's that young.
What I'm trying to say is that I don't believe this to be the result of a specific or malicious preference, as is the case with repeat offenders such as pedophiles and Discord mods. What I think we're looking at is a culmination of a fucked up childhood and trauma, resulting in emotional immaturity and a lack of genuine and fulfilling relationships.
If you look at Zero's upbringing and the relationships he grew up in and around, this conclusion starts to make some sense. And when you consider the fact that Zero's behavior isn't, to our knowledge at the time of this video, a recurring pattern, and it might be fair to say that Zero isn't a current danger to children. But throw all that out the window, because John Swan is here to tell us what Tech is actually trying to do.
It's pretty apparent that Tech is making excuses for Zero throughout. Oh yeah, he might have asked a 14-year-old girl to stick ice up her pussy, but did you know he tried to kill himself? He may have groomed her for months, but did you know how messed up his childhood was? Like, it's just so blatant. Tech doesn't even try to hide it. Tech interviews some of Zero's friends and Zero himself to try and give some context as to why he's socially awkward and shouldn't be held to the same standard as the rest of us. Yada, yada, yada. None of this excuses Zero's behavior.
Do I condone the conversations that took place? No, and I hope I've made that very clear.
But come on, let's not beat around the bush here. He did not make this clear, like, at all.
Didn't make it clear?
In the messages we are provided, it's very clear that Zero is being flirtatious, and according to the dates, he knew her age at the time. I'm not going to read them, but these messages on screen are 100% unacceptable, and he'll be the first to tell you that.
What is important to know here is that at the time I uploaded this video, I only had about 3.5 thousand subscribers, making me a relatively unknown figure within the commentary community. Therefore, my opinions held no weight and were ultimately irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. John would end up making a response about 2 weeks later. I first learned that he responded when Smaggle was going off in my Discord server, claiming that I had gotten owned. At the time, I was busy eating Five Guys and taking an online course about the stock market, so it was unfortunate to be interrupted by this response video. I honestly don't know what the video is called since John keeps changing the title and thumbnail, but a common thing he tried to push was that I was a Technicals fanboy. Reducing me to such a title is both belittling and incorrect. I'm actually a Hacks fan, so calling me a Technicals fanboy may honestly be misinformation. Considering my size at the time, I expected John to respond with a low-effort livestream on his second channel, or something to that effect. I did not expect John to post a 27-minute formal response using the same setup from his original video, this time including the iconic franchise blazer. The fact that John went to such lengths to try and prove me wrong once again shows his narcissistic drive to crush anyone who opposes him. Ironically enough, I would end up ratioing his video despite being a smaller channel by 2 orders of magnitude. Throughout this video, John would record a stat line of 0 points along with 2 assists and 1 rebound. However, the funniest stat was a 0 of 27 performance from the field. Here are some of his most iconic airballs.
You know, originally I wasn't even going to respond to this video properly, but given it's amassed quite a considerable view count and it's being posted as a response anytime someone mentions my video, I think it's about time I say something. I never intended to even make a video on this, because honestly, I felt kind of bad. In the past, when people have responded to my work in this way, they usually make at least one good point that I have to take on the shoulder. But this video just makes no good points at all. Like, I genuinely question the cognitive abilities of the people that watched this video and thought it was good or said anything valid.
If my video made no good points at all, then why are you spending so much effort responding to it? One could argue that you put more effort into your response to me than you did in your Technicals video due to the blazer. It is also worth mentioning that none of the tweets he provided had John tagged. Instead, they were threads of Skiff, an avid supporter of statutory rape, and Parappa, who called Summit a scam.
I like Zero, and if he decides to continue making content, I can't think of a single reason not to. If you just thought to yourself, wow, that's a pretty risky and controversial opinion, Technicals, then I'd argue that this opinion is 1,000 times less controversial than what a majority of the Smash community already openly accepts.
Your head has to be full of rocks if you don't understand what the implication is there.
The ironic part about this statement is that I'm actually Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. As someone who has complained about doxing in the past, you seem to be more than comfortable leaking my secret identity to tens of thousands of people. Even when John tells the truth, he still finds a way to mess it up. Whatever, this is agree to disagree. I'm full of rocks. I'm Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I am Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I am The Rock. I am literally The Rock. Hold up. Let me boost my ego. I'm Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Alright. To top it all off, John says this at the end of the video.
The last part of the franchise's video focuses on character attacks and bringing up old unrelated drama as gotcha moments. He says that I have no integrity and that my video is based on broken evidence.
According to John, using past examples of his behavior to call him a hypocrite is bad faith and unnecessary. Bringing up your past actions was to show that this is a pattern of behavior you have failed to correct. You were still the slimy weasel you were during the Dream controversy. You are still the dreaded diminished triad. A few days later, I was surprised that John was doing a stream watching Hacks' evidence.zip 2 video. This entire stream took me by surprise, and I could see it served no other purpose than as an indirect jab at me and Technicals, who are avid Leffen detractors. The video was made several months prior, and had already been beaten to death and retracted. The entire stream was a mess, to say the least. There were 3 major issues with this stream. Firstly, Swan was drinking throughout the stream, meaning he was legally incapable of giving consent. Nicholas Diorio predicted that I would make this argument, proving that he truly is a fortune teller.
I'm not of sound mind. I should have. See, Swan, he didn't understand the points because he wasn't sober when he watched the video.
Dude, that's unironically the franchise would make that video. Like, Swan was likely under the legal alcohol.
This was a pretty minor concern. However, once they got to the sections discussing the box and the intricate melee mechanics, John would use his ever-famous, yet hypocritical catchphrase.
Since I don't expect everyone to have seen these videos, I'll give you a brief rundown of why analog L cancels are better.
Bro, go outside, please. Hey, commentary community, I'm outside right now touching some grass. I think you guys could all take a little bit of advice from that. Remember, the internet isn't as serious as you may think it is. You may think a lot of the things hold more weight than they really do. Try and get outside. Touch some grass sometime.
Being told to touch grass by Swan of all people is hilarious. John is based out of Australia, a country in the South Pacific. Through my research, I learned that Australia is 70% semi-arid, which means that 70% of Australia experiences an average of 10 to 20 inches of rainfall per year. As it turns out, most lawns require between 52 and 78 inches of rain per year, meaning that growing grass in Australia is considerably difficult. Therefore, it stands to reason that John would have a hard time touching grass in Australia. While this blatant hypocrisy was repulsive, nothing can compare to what John says here.
C's testimony is cleanly divided into 6 sections, each with its own title. I'll be showing you his testimony in its entirety.
Oh, fuck's sake. No! Okay, how much did this... Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'm turning off this fucking shit music. Alright.
This might honestly be the worst crime John has ever committed in his entire career. The music you just heard is from a video game series called Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney features some of the most beloved and iconic soundtracks in all of gaming. To say such horrible things about Ace Attorney music is borderline slander, and Capcom should seriously consider filing a legal complaint against John. John, if you're watching this video, I suggest you watch my video on Leffen and stop the stream when I make a good point, instead of using Hax's video as a straw man.
And these are... Okay, so the franchise thinks this guy is like legit, dude. This is a legit video.
Do I think Leffen's some totalitarian dictator, evil, like fascist anime overlord? No. However, do I still think Hax brought up some decent points, and do I understand why he said the things he said in his videos? Yes. I just think his execution in the video was terrible. I think he goes for a lot of reaches, and he doesn't really talk about the tangible, like his personal experiences with Leffen. Instead, he tries to talk about psychology and the dark triad and BS like that. Imagine being in his shoes, alright? For the past 10 years, this random guy who started the beef with you, he came after you on Smashboards for no reason. He's trying to end your career, trying to get the box banned. He's trying to then make fun of the box and spread misinformation about it that could potentially hurt Hax's bottom line. Like, of course he's going to not like Leffen. Of course, this is an obsession. This is just him being pissed over 10 years. On January 28th, 2022, Technicals would release his video titled The Commentary Double Standard, including a section where he responded to Swan's original video on Zero. This prompted John to respond once again in a live stream, which he hyped up with the most over-the-top and unnecessary trailer.
No, yeah, I'm okay. It's just... sometimes there's just events where you learn who your real friends are, and this shit happens. I get it. Motherfuckers need something to talk about. It's just a sensationalism.
Why did he make this? What is the point of this? What is the point of this? Ironically, despite everything he did to hype it up, his stream would end up getting ratioed by Technicals. If you've been paying attention, getting ratioed is a common theme for John, which plays into his narcissistic urges. He wants to see himself as above others, so when he gets dominated, he feels as though he must do more to gain the upper hand.
The Oxford Dictionary is the most used dictionary in the world. Most used Dictionary. Dictionary by America's... Maybe it is Merriam-Webster. I don't know. Am I wrong? I thought Oxford was. Either way, they're both super popular. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Either way. I thought Oxford was. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
Which actually specifies where
No way.
You even read out this exact definition, even though you
There's no way. I'm so low.
These points would have hit a lot harder. They weren't overshadowed by how much of a fucking douchebag you are.
Okay.
John's stream was somehow worse than his response to me. His overall thesis was that Zero should not be allowed back in any online setting, yet he also should not have his channel terminated because he has not been convicted of a crime.
Do you think Onision should be terminated from YouTube? And I said no. No, I do not want him to be terminated from YouTube because he has not been convicted of a crime. Like, the standard is always, if you are convicted of a crime, your channel is terminated. Zero should not be allowed back in any online setting where you would have the ability to interact with minors on a daily basis. This is pretty standard in nearly every other profession that involves children. Like, I've never once made the statement or the assertion that, or the argument, what did I say statement? The argument that Zero should be terminated from YouTube. I've never said that. It doesn't mean that Zero should be allowed to post content for children again. I'm personally not comfortable with that. It's the one before. Sorry, my apologies.
While it is technically true that these statements can coexist, the resulting conclusion doesn't really make much sense. John essentially concludes that Zero should have a platform, but should not be allowed to use it. Why is this the solution you are proposing? How does this solve anything? This logical oversight is nothing compared to the crime he would commit next.
Right there.
And then he says this, did you think I want Zero to be banned? Like, terminated from YouTube? Because I've never said that. Never, never, never. Like, all of my videos are talking about the community's response, the community should not welcome me
Where's
back,
it at, John? We're
should be
both
dumped in the
live.
community.
We're both live. This is your
Like,
chance. You live in Australia, nigga. That shit's on lockdown. I could never do.
US, I'll be right with you. Like, does he think I want Zero to be terminated?
We're live.
Like, I don't want Zero to be.
Go
that's not how it
in!
works. You don't terminate people based on. online
Go
content.
in, nigga. Wait, spam go in on his chat.
Is there anything else that I missed?
Chat, roll the footage back. See how John Swan just didn't dap me up.
Those two statements can coexist. I don't know why they're like.
Go in!
mutually exclusive.
What are you waiting on? It's the same hand too.
Right there with you, Johnny boy. This, along with my next point, really
Are you
highlights
serious?
how obvious it was you were trying to paint everything
That's so
in the worst light
disingenuous.
possible.
He literally
Spends the
had the
next 6
opportunity.
minutes discussing neither.
Are you
This
serious?
section also serves
Oh
another
my
purpose.
God,
Does the
bro.
Smash community-
It's pretty standard in the African American community to dap someone up. A dap is defined as a greeting or an expression of admiration in which two people knock their fists together. For example, Barack Obama and his wife Michelle exchanged a dap during an election night rally. To reject a dap is the highest crime you can commit against an African American person. As a result, we can conclude that John Swan is a racist to the highest degree. This would also explain why John turned on technicals in the first place and took so much time and effort to respond to me. On March 10th, 2022, Technicals would formally challenge John Swan to a boxing match. John is someone who does not want smoke with Technicals, and any normal person in this situation would decline the offer and move on. But remember, John is not a normal person. He is, indeed, the diminished triad. So instead of rejecting the offer, John decided the best way to avoid boxing Technicals is to cancel himself. This brings us to John's final con as of this video. John's most recent con came against a YouTuber named Cammy. This con is unique from the rest because Cammy is not a notable figure on YouTube, only boasting around 1,000 subscribers, so it didn't make sense for John to want blood. Still, John went balls to the wall to craft a narrative to take down Cammy for whatever motive he had. On April 17th, 2022, a document would be released accusing Cammy of sexting and manipulating a minor. The problem with this document is that the claims did not add up with the evidence. It claimed that Cammy was 18 turning 19 and the girl was 15. As it turns out, the girl would turn 16 before Cammy turned 19, meaning that at most the age gap was 3 years. In the document, Cammy was often accused of forcing the girl into doing things she didn't want to do. However, in the actual messages, we can see that this is not the case.
Obviously, the content of these messages are incredibly upsetting and disturbing. At the very least, cringe. Holy shit, dude. All right, hold on now. This sentence right here. Obviously, the content of these messages are incredibly upsetting and disturbing. At the very least, cringe. That's a little bit of a different thing, isn't it? These messages are fucked up and disturbing and wrong, but I mean, at least they're just a little bit cringe. That's two different things, dude.
While what Cammy did is not something that I would necessarily defend or support, this document exaggerated the situation. The streamer Destiny would get involved with the situation and invited John to discuss the document. John was asked if he was involved in the creation of the document. Take a look at what he says.
Were you involved in the creation of a document against?
That's a yes.
I was not directly involved.
Oh God!
What does not directly involved mean?
No, I mean I saw it.
Okay, I found the tweet.
It would later come out that it was not only John's idea in the first place to write the document, but that he also made several minor edits to the document, correcting different grammar mistakes.
Swan came up with the idea of the document.
Wait, John Swan. Wait, the guy that came in here and said that he wasn't involved at all.
He was just in call. He said that he wasn't involved at all. So like,
I didn't want to say anything because like he said that he wasn't involved.
Just wanted to clarify a few things after the events of today. A few days ago, I was contacted by a girl who I have mutual friends with. She told me that they were taken advantage of and manipulated. I gave some advice based on what I was told at the time and directed her to people that I thought could help. Apparently, she was pressured by her friends into coming forward with this information, and they put ideas into her head. The writers of the document constantly checked up on her to make sure she was okay with going public, and she confirmed every time that she was. She told me today that she did feel weird about it at certain points, but shrugged it off and didn't tell me. I don't blame the girl for this, of course. Things can get confusing when put under so much pressure, but that is part of the reason that led to this clusterfuck happening. This was all about trying to help the girl. I believed her motivations were clean, and I did not know she had outsiders influencing her. Kind of like you when you tell her that the best options are either make a document or make a document. No police, no parents. John's the document guy. Fuck the legal route. Documents. Jesus Christ. To make things super clear, I did not write a word of the document. I looked at small portions and made edits when asked. A ton of people are shitting on him because he said, I did not write a word of the document, and then immediately says that he edited the document. So it's like...
So not only has John lied about his involvement, as it turns out, John did not just make minor edits, and instead he rewrote entire paragraphs to change the meaning and thesis of the document entirely.
Dude, Aiden's tweet, this doesn't look like just a few sentences changed to this document. Look at that, man. What the hell? What the hell?
Yellow is edited by John, I guess.
Yellow is just how he typed.
What the? What the?
And the yellow cross through is what he deleted, right?
Okay, dude.
Yeah, so the highlighted stuff is what he wrote, I believe.
Wait, how long is the
okay,
document?
Dude.
What percentage of the...
Wait a minute. Hold on now.
What the hell?
Look at this paragraph that... Let's see this paragraph that he changed, right? So I'm assuming that this was like, what, the girl or something? Or I guess the original writer. I don't know. After this, it continued. He made jokes and started liking it after I asked him if he did it. He continued on, tried asking me if it was okay multiple times. He's aware of my age, by the way, so he kept asking if it was weird or not. I tell him I didn't think it was really weird. I really didn't think much of it. As it continued on, he said he was very hard. You could see he basically told me he was pleasured by what I was saying to him. Okay, so John crossed that out, and then look what he wrote. Cam used me for his own sexual pleasure when I was in a vulnerable state. He knew what he was doing was wrong, comparing his actions to those of people who have been canceled from the community. He said how I made him happy. He called me cute, said I was his darling, and he made me feel appreciated and loved. But all he ever wanted was sexual pleasure, and he used me to get what he wanted. I'm ashamed that I ever took part in this. Okay, right now...
He added intent to it.
Read the other banger quote from John. Wait. First of all, okay... If you guys watched my coverage of this document, my number one complaint with it was that the document asserted that Cammy was like forcing sexual acts from the girl and that she wasn't fine with it. Whereas when you read the DMs, there's like 20 different times where Cam's telling the girl, hey, is this weird? Hey, should we stop? Hey, is this bad? Hey, should we stop? Are you comfortable with this? You know, it's like regardless of whether you think the conversation itself was bad, there was no like using her or manipulating her. And that whole narrative that was put in this document, which I guess I'm finding out now was apparently put in there completely manufactured by John Swan. What is this? Is this like a lie on top of a lie?
John has been caught lying twice now regarding his involvement with the document. He has gone from saying that he was not involved, to now slightly involved, to now being the brains behind the whole operation. We can adequately confirm that John was trying to build a narrative against Cammy and pin the blame on a 15-year-old girl in order to cover up his involvement. And the best part was his second statement addressing everything, claiming that his response was perfect and that anyone against him is mentally insane. This goes back to his narcissism. John cannot acknowledge that any criticism against him could be valid, so he discards it as ludicrous and insane. This is similar to what he did with me in my original video. At this point, the commentary community could no longer defend John. It was clear that his run-in with Dream was not an isolated incident, but an authentic glimpse of who he was the entire time. His friends no longer gave him the benefit of the doubt, and finally began seeing John as the diminished triad. Honestly, despite all of his cons, John's friends might be the greatest victims in this whole situation. They were willing to put their credibility on the line for John on multiple occasions. They believed in John, but John did not believe in them. We have reached the end of our long and painful journey. Digging up some of these memories was intense, and having to relive the evil experiences was something I hope I can forget. Regardless, this video was necessary to take a stand against a man who has terrorized the masses. Many people may watch this video and think this was an elaborate shot at hacks, and this is actually partially true, because I need to let you guys in on a bit of a secret. You see, Hacks is hiding a mixtape. I kept trying to get him to drop it, but he said he won't release it yet. So I decided to confront him publicly in his stream chat, and this is what he said to me.
A pilgrimage? Dude, you're not gonna unsub franchise. Without me, where would your YouTube channel be, man? You're not gonna unsub.
So if we can get hashtag hacks mixtape trending, that would be amazing. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, hope you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.